Watsco isn't a household name, but it helps to heat and cool millions of them. In this Compounding Academy teaching, we'll break down how this aircon distributor became one of the most reliable, cash-generating businesses in North America, and why it's a classic compounding story, hiding in plain sight. Before we dive into Watsco itself, it's worth stepping back. The HVAC industry is riding several long-term trends, from tighter energy standards to a growing need for replacement cooling systems. These structural drivers are what make this space fertile ground for compounders. The HVAC industry isn't standing still. Three forces are reshaping it: tighter energy efficiency rules, the push toward electrification and heat pumps, and a massive base of aging systems needing replacement. Together they create a powerful, long-term growth tailwind, and Watsco is right in the middle of it. HVAC isn't a nice-to-have. It's essential. The installed base is aging, which means constant replacement demand. Add rising temperatures, and the need for cooling becomes even more urgent. Then layer on energy efficiency targets, and you've got a perfect storm driving upgrades across the board. The US HVAC market isn't just large, it's growing steadily, with a projected 7% annual growth rate through 2033. That kind of long-term visibility is rare, and it's exactly the kind of backdrop we look for when evaluating potential compounders. Now let's look at the business itself. Watsco is the quiet giant behind America's HVAC supply chain, moving critical parts and equipment at scale, while compounding shareholder returns year after year. Watsco sits at the heart of the HVAC ecosystem, connecting 350,000 contractors with the equipment and parts they need, fast. Most of its revenue comes from replacements, not new builds. So demand is steady, driven by breakdowns, not booms and busts. Whether a contractor walks into a branch or orders through Watsco's e-commerce platform, speed and availability are everything. And in a fragmented industry, that scale, across 650 locations, isn't just helpful. It's a moat. So what makes Watsco a durable compounder? First, its scale. With over 650 locations, it's got unmatched reach in a fragmented industry. Second, it's trusted. Decades-long relationships with top manufacturers give it pricing power and priority supply. Third, it's sticky. Contractors rely on Watsco's support, not just for products, but for training, credit, and digital tools. And underpinning all of that, strong free cash flow and a rock-solid balance sheet, giving it the firepower to keep growing, deal by deal. This is what we like to see: clean, steady revenue growth across cycles. No big swings, no boom-bust volatility. Just consistent execution, supported by replacement demand and smart acquisitions. For a distributor, this kind of chart speaks volumes. It tells us the business model works, even when the macro gets bumpy. Here's the engine behind Watsco's growth. Nearly 90 million AC units installed across the US. Most of these systems don't last forever. They need replacing every 10 to 15 years. That's why more than 2/3 of Watsco's revenues come from replacement demand. It's predictable, recurring, and largely immune to the ups and downs of housing cycles. That growing installed base and the steady rhythm of replacements shows up clearly here. Watsco has compounded revenue at 9.3% annually for over a decade. No heroics, just consistent execution in a market where demand keeps showing up, year after year. Growth is one thing, growing profitably is another. Watsco now consistently delivers gross margins above 25%, a sign of real pricing power in distribution. And as it scales, those margins are translating into better operating leverage. Proof that this isn't just a big business, it's an efficient one. This is where Watsco really shines. Not only is it profitable, it earns high returns on the capital it invests. ROIC has stepped up meaningfully in recent years, rising with margins. That tells us the company isn't just bigger, it's better. And when a business can reinvest at these kinds of returns, that's when compounding really kicks in. This chart tells us a lot about Watsco's staying power. The blue bars show net debt to EBITDA, and that final negative bar, that means the company is sitting on net cash, not debt. Meanwhile, the red line shows free cash flow as a percentage of net income. It's volatile year to year, but clearly trending up, consistently above 100%. Taken together, this is exactly what we look for: a business that doesn't rely on debt and reliably converts earnings into cash. That combination doesn't just support growth, it makes those returns more sustainable. And in a compounding story, sustainability and consistency are everything. Even great businesses face risks. For Watsco, the key ones are integration missteps from acquisitions, which could erode returns or disrupt operations; economic slowdowns, which mostly affect the smaller portion of revenue tied to new construction; and regulatory changes that might drive up compliance costs. None of these are deal breakers, but they're worth watching. These are the numbers that matter most. Organic growth shows that the core engine is healthy. Margins tell us if the business has pricing power and operational discipline. And free cash flow conversion above 100%. That's how we know those profits are real and repeatable. Track these, and you'll know whether the compounding story is on course. Watsco earns an 8.1 out of 10 on our quality framework, comfortably in the high quality zone. The strongest pillars, financial strength and visibility, are up there, driven by recurring demand, high cash conversion, and a clean balance sheet. It also scores well on competitive strengths, thanks to its scale, customer relationships, and consolidation strategy. This is exactly the kind of business we look for: resilient, cash generative, and built to compound. To wrap up, Watsco is a textbook example of a quality compounder. Recurring demand from replacements provides the foundation. Acquisitions add smart, steady growth on top. And behind it all is a business model with real scale, high returns, and durable competitive advantages. It may not be flashy, but it's exactly the kind of company that compounds powerfully over time. If you'd like to dive deeper, you can download the full one-pager at compounding-academy.com. It brings everything together, from financial metrics to competitive positioning, in a single snapshot. It also includes our quality score, which reflects our proprietary framework for assessing long-term compounders. And while we don't include valuation in these slides to keep them timeless, we do update our valuation views regularly, and that's something we reserve for paid subscribers. If you enjoyed this overview, don't forget to subscribe for more concise takes on high-quality companies. Like and share if you found it useful. It really helps us grow. And for more teach-ins, head over to www.compounding-academy.com.